Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of On Pattison Podcast. What a great sports week we're having, and we're so glad you joined us. I'm Bob Cooney, along with Anthony Sanfilippo, and today Francesca Ruscio joining us to add a little beauty to the mundane Anthony and Bob show. So,
you mean I'm not pretty enough, Bob?
I think we're outdone here, Ant, but we'll have to move on. Francesca, how are you?
Oh, we're doing great. We're doing awesome. Phillies won last night. We watched Phillies. We watched the PGA Championship. Lots to talk about. There's a lot going on. I feel great. I feel really good too. Skin's glowing, hair slick, and I get to hang out with you two unks this morning. It's perfect.
There you go.
You got the skin glowing and the hair going, so you got me beat on both ends, which is just all right. I got my Aronimink PGA hat on today.
Yes,
I
saw that.
So good time out there. So Francesca, we'll get to the golf and stuff a little bit later, but I do want to get your thoughts on just how fun your weekend was out there.
Hey, you got it. Awesome. We were there for 3 days. So much to unpack. Absolutely.
Yeah. It was such a great time.
Yeah, it looked like it. I wasn't out there, but I watched a lot of it. And then, of course, I watched all of Francesca's social media stuff that she put out from there. It looked like she was having a little bit of a good time, Bob.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was working, so I wasn't having the good time Francesca was having.
Yeah, you were hoofing it around the course for 3 days. Getting in. What did you say? It was like 20,000 steps.
I got 29.6 miles in the 4 days I was there. Was how much I walked. Yeah.
What 4 days were you there?
I was there Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
Okay.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Aronimink did a great job.
Yeah, that's cool.
By any chance, do any of you guys know if there was some kind of walkthrough rehearsal for patrons getting onto the shuttle and then the gallery filling in? Because everything was just smooth. It was the best conveyor belt of participation I think I've ever seen.
They did a fantastic. I had a lot of friends that went. They said they had absolutely no problems getting there, getting in, getting out. The media part of it was great. A good friend of mine is on the board at Aronimink. So I talked to him before everything started and all the preparation they put in. Here's a little shout out to the people at Aronimink. They have 1,200 members. Okay, 400 of those members, a third of Aronimink's members, volunteered to be there all week to do stuff. The PGA, when they heard about that, said that they never see anything like this at private clubs, that their members come out in full force. And it's a Philly thing. They were out there and they were representing, and everything went great there. So I thought it was a great weekend. And the winner of the weekend, as I wrote pretty much throughout it, was Aronimink.
Yes, yeah. I would have to agree with that sentiment. And one thing that I think everybody needs to know, the members, not only, of course, hearing about the volunteers, that's new to me. They had to surrender member play since November, still paying their dues. And keep in mind, Aronimink is one of those special courses and memberships where you can only get it really like once in a lifetime. It's a 10-year wait right now to become a member at Aronimink.
Yeah. It was pretty incredible.
10 years?
10 years, yes.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Initiation fee. I got the number. I'll just be conservative with it. It's well north of 100,000 for full golf, which means unlimited golf, from what I have heard. And somebody said, Francesca, the second that you make that lump sum, just put it right into an Aronimink membership, because you'll at least get in line, that 10-year wait. And then who knows where life will take you within those next 10 years. But I believe, is it worth it? That's always a new dialogue. But I got to tell you, the course was stunning. It was breathtaking. It was gorgeous. They all did a really good job. Yeah.
Well, there's definitely something I want to get into about Aronimink, but we'll save it for a little bit later in the show.
Yes.
I think we would be remiss, Bob, if we did not start today's show with the Philadelphia Phillies.
They're pretty good, Ant.
16-4 in their last 20 games. Like, that's 800 winning percentage. I mean, that's unbelievable. Like, that doesn't happen every day. And it's especially fascinating coming off of a 9-19 start, right? Like, to just suddenly flip that switch and say, okay, now we're going to go be the best team in baseball. Like, how does that happen?
Well, that's my question to you. How does that happen to you guys? Don Mattingly comes in, they go 16-4. Baseball's a long season, 162 games. You can have 20-game stretches of pretty much anything. You know, whether it's 10-10, 2-18, 18-2, whatever. Is this a coincidence, do you guys think, with Don Mattingly coming in and boom, 16-4 gets, reeled off here? Because I don't think he's taking him in the back shed and teaching him how to play defense all over again, or teaching him how to bunt or play small ball. I don't know. Is it a coincidence? And is it something that had to happen with Rob Thompson, obviously?
So here's the thing. Here's how I look at it, Bob. I don't think he's managing much differently in game than Rob Thompson did. I think it's pretty similar. A couple things that are little tiny tweaks, but nothing that would really stand out and go, oh, well, that's the reason. That's obviously why you went from 9-19 to 16-4. Like, no, there's nothing that specific, right? But what I think it was is it got to a point, and we've all been there, where when you are around you work with the same people for so long that you just kind of it gets mundane, right? Yeah. It gets to the point where you show up to work and what used to be a fun, vibrant atmosphere is now just kind of like, hey, how's it going? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Was your night good? Okay, good. Right. And I think that's kind of what the Phillies became, because there was so little turnover, right? It was the same group of players for the most part, and the same manager and the same routine every day. It just kind of became blah. And it's not to say that Rob Thompson was a bad manager and Don Mattingly is some brilliant guy. I just think that it's that little wake up call. Like, okay, you got too used to it being that way. We're going to do things slightly different. And the one thing I did have noticed about Mattingly is he's made pregame like matter. So he's kind of getting everybody into baseball mode a little bit sooner. I did tend to think it got a little country clubbish around there, to make a golf analogy, if I could. It did get a little country clubbish in the sense that, players showed up and, they knew what their routine was. They were doing, it's not like they weren't doing their work. They absolutely were. But, you would go out and watch fielding practice and it would be, 5 or 6 guys out there for fielding practice. Who hits in the cage on their own. Nobody comes out for beat. They don't come out for BP. They don't come out for fielding, whatever. And now all of a sudden it's intense fielding practice. Everybody's participating, kind of like a little bit more upbeat kind of pregame. Does that translate? Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I don't know. But it just seems like those little things away from first pitch to last pitch maybe had a little bit of an impact into getting the Phillies off the mat.
Sure. And, I found this as, and you guys know also, as a player, as a coach, whatever, with your kids, the littlest difference in something sometimes means a lot, like a different glove, a new pair of cleats, like something in 162 games has to change every once in a while, even at the professional level. And when I was covering the Phillies and when I was down there before with Rob Thompson, I didn't know that wasn't the norm of every day that guys didn't take fielding or they took BP on the inside. Trey Turner's out there every day when I was there, and that was pretty much it, right, Ant?
Yeah, I mean, you would get like Turner, Stott, Sosa, Bohm, like if there were guys, but like Harper rarely took fielding practice on the field. He would come out every once in a blue moon, but it would be rare. He never takes batting practice on the field. Schwarber's usually in the cage underneath, but he even came out a couple of times when I was down there. And granted, I was traveling with the Flyers, but there were a couple games I got to, and Schwarber was out taking BP on the field. Just like, guys out taking more outfield practice. There's been some pitchers fielding practice. I know that was a thing last year. If you remember, Matt Strahm was like, well, we didn't do enough pitching fielding practice. Like, you saw some of that. So I just think it's little things like that. It's more about just getting the mind into the game. And Francesca, I don't know if you've ever had this. I know you're you were a big golfer, but did you ever have a situation where, you were working with a coach, and you just needed to switch it up and change and work with somebody else to kind of get you refocused?
All the time, all the time. And it just kind of like curtails into not only the physicality of just being involved in sports, but also the mentality. And sometimes you can take it a step further, baseball, golf, what have you. Sometimes people will try something so radically different because we're grasping on straws. I was actually introduced to a sports psychologist. And I've played every sport in the book, but you get to a certain level in your game where you want to break to another level, and you'll have to actually try something so radically different to try to achieve that. And then maintaining that once you achieve it is a whole different ball game, pun intended. Oh yeah.
We got a lot of puns on the show this morning. Bob, you're on the block here. You got to come up with a good pun at some point.
Yeah, I'm next, and I'll figure that out as we go on. But so this thing that goes with Mattingly, like it was funny how all the complaints, and this is big talk on Sports Talk Radio now, was Dave Dombrowski, and look at this roster, and it's not built right, and he didn't do anything to change it, and they basically stayed status quo and all that. It was bad. Then you bring in Mattingly, and oh no, the roster's fine. Like, you know, they still have a really good roster, and if guys keep doing this, is this sustainable what they're doing right now? I mean, obviously 800 baseball isn't sustainable. We all know that. People don't realize this, and this is what I love about baseball, the numbers game. Rarely do teams play 600 baseball for a season. I wrote the list out, and I think I shared this with you before, that over like the last 8 years, the Dodgers have done it 4 times, and there's been like 7 different teams that have played 600 ball. That's really, really good baseball. But is this roster good enough to play? Because that's what they're going to have to play for the rest of the year, probably to make it into the playoffs. Is this roster good enough, do you guys think?
Yeah, so here's the thing. First of all, I want to say, Bob, and most fans don't even realize this, and you point that out. It's very smart to point out the 600 baseball thing. That's really it's really one more win than 500, right? So over every 10 games. So like, if you need to go 6-4 in 10 games, where if you lose that game, you're 5-5, right? So you win one more game than 500 every 10, and you're a 600 baseball team. And most people don't think of 6-4 as a good record. Like it's just okay. It's it's close to 500. Yeah, but if you do it consistently, then you're one of the best teams in the sport, right?
Exactly.
It's kind of, and you don't realize that a lot with baseball because there's so many games, right? 162 games. Could you imagine if the Eagles were 6-4? Like, people would be like, "Oh, this team's not doing anything. 6-4 not good enough," right? But in baseball, 6-4 repeatedly
is 96 wins.
Yeah, it's fantastic, right? So is 16-4 sustainable? No, no, it's not. Can the Phillies be one of the better teams in baseball from this point forward? They have the pitching to do it, Bob. They do. We've seen it with Christopher Sanchez on Saturday with his complete game shutout, Zach Wheeler's 7-inning shutout on Sunday, which was pretty awesome, beating Paul Skeens. Even Andrew Painter had a good game last night. Pitched into the 6th inning there, got through 6 innings, only give up 2 runs. Like, they're getting good starting pitching. And with that, and then the bullpen's been a lot better. You combine those two things, they're going to win more often than they're not going to win. My concern remains the lineup. And I know that they hit this weekend, right? And I know that you had Bryson Stott get the big home run last night. That's great. I still think this is a 2.5 hitter team right now.
Anthony, do you think they just got lucky last night?
No, I mean, there was a couple of things. Like, I wouldn't say lucky. I mean, I think they pitched. Painter pitched well. It was 2-2. Then they get behind, and then they have a rally and come back and win the game. And look, that's what good teams do. They find a way to win even when they're not hitting. What, they only have 6 hits last night, Bob? 5 hits, 6 hits, whatever it was. So like good teams, when you're not hitting, will find a way to create the offense. Just so happened to be a 2-run home run by Bryson Stott last night. And I know you can't live on the long ball, you can't live on the home run all the time. But if you're going good, like, these things happen. So I'm not saying that they can't do this consistently, that they can't be at least be the resilient team that finds a way. And they've been that the last few years. So I could certainly see that. I still worry that there's too much of a flaw in the lineup with 5 or 6 guys that are not up to snuff, that I have a concern that it'll affect them at some point again during the season.
Snuff could be a pun right there, and also when you.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah. So Francesca, you look at this team,
Yes.
and the 16-4 is great. The 9-19 wasn't. You make the change, but as I said earlier, the lineup isn't all that much different. What do you like most about this Phillies baseball team, and what frustrates you most?
As a fan,
yeah,
you watch it as a fan,
right?
Yes, yeah. Well, I'll say this: I have a pecking order of teams that I will go to town for. So I'm first and foremost, we're Go Birds. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Flyers were very interesting. I have to say, I did catch the game last night because I was really curious about the dialogue this morning on the podcast. I just think I was getting a little nervous at the beginning, and now do I want to be hopeful? And I don't know if that's because that could possibly lead to a heartbreak. We just don't know where. And I'm just going off of how emotionally as a fan, it just feels like a very toxic relationship. So I'm hanging in there. I've got hope. I hope last night wasn't just luck. Anthony brought up the lineup. That is something that I too am a little concerned about, but we just have to take it day by day. We got tons of games ahead. So I'm kind of I'm choosing neutrality for my own mental sake, for my own mental well-being. I think that's the best way to explain
very
it.
Philadelphia-like. Yeah, that's good for you. Good for you. Well, we're talking about winners here, right? And winners win. And Wapner Newman, who we thank for being our friends here. Winners win. Wapner Newman, they've been winning for families throughout the Philadelphia and New Jersey area since 1978. If you need a winner, call Wapner Newman at 215-569-0900 or visit wapnernewman.com. All right, Anthony, I'm going to ask you, since you've been down there for so long, what kind of fool's gold are we getting from the Phillies right now?
I don't think it's fool's gold either. I'm torn, Bob, because I've been talking about the Phillies on podcasts now for the last 8 years, and I think that I've been pretty sure of myself on what I've believed about the Phillies in each of the previous 7 years. I haven't always been right, but I've been right more often than not, and I've been pretty confident in what I say about the team. I don't feel that way anymore because I don't necessarily know what I'm seeing is real. Either when they were 9-19, I was questioning, this can't be this bad, can it? And now watching 16-4, I'm saying, this can't be this good, can it? Right? So I'm doubting myself from what I'm watching and from what I'm seeing, because I don't know where to qualify this team. I can identify flaws and red flags, and I can identify players that I believe in and think that they're going to be just fine. But putting it all together into one big thing, that's where I'm having the hardest time determining. Preseason, I was asked what my prediction was for the Phillies. I said, I think that they're going to win 94 games and win the division again. That was my preseason prediction. I don't think they're going to get to 94 now. And if you asked me last week or a week and a half ago, I would have said 84 was probably the win total. 10 fewer wins because of how bad of a start they got off to. You asked me today, I said they could get to 90. I'm all over the place because it just keeps changing. I don't know. I'm not, and like Francesca, I'm a little bit unsure of what to buy into. And do I believe they're a playoff team? I do. I do think that ultimately, when all is said and done, and there are 6 playoff teams in the National League, the Philadelphia Phillies will be one of those 6. I think they're still one of the better teams in the National League. Do I feel less about them now than I did in March? Yeah. Because in March, I looked at it and I said it was Dodgers and then Phillies. That was my take. Dodgers best team, Phillies second best team. Now I think there's a couple other teams that maybe are past the Phillies in the National League. Doesn't mean that they're bad. It just means that they may not be number 2 right now. I think the Braves are looking better than the Phillies. I think the Cubs have looked better than the Phillies. I think the Padres have looked better than the Phillies. So maybe they're the 4th or 5th best team in the National League. Still gives them a chance to win. Still gives them a chance to go to the World Series, right? They're not like dead and buried, but I don't know exactly what they are. And as our buddy and Francesca, you'll get to know this guy on our show because he chimes in nonstop in the chat. But Ford 9065, and he always wants his comments put up. So
hi, Ford.
He complains to me when I don't put them up. But he says he believes the Phillies are exactly in the middle. And then he follows up by saying not elite and definitely not terrible. And I think but I think that he's right on that. I think that he's probably correct in the sense that they're pretty good, but not what we thought they were.
I got to ask you this because we've been having these conversations, just Philly sports altogether, since you've been keeping up with preseason, Anthony. What other main specific surprises have you experienced from preseason up until now? Like, is it a player? Is it the lineup? What else has surprised you or has taken a turn in probably your prediction?
Trey Turner. Okay. Trey Turner he won the batting title last year. And now you look at it and he's your leadoff hitter, can't get on base. He's very inconsistent. He's playing good defense. I'll give him credit for that. But he's not the player you need him to be. He's a $300 million player playing like a $80 million player, right? I mean, that's the difference right now.
Yeah.
And I think so that's the one that's been probably on the disappointing side. So I'll go there. That's probably the one that's disappointed me the most. As far as pleasant surprises, I think there's two. One, I think Justin Crawford has been a little bit better offensively than I thought he would be. I still don't think he's going to be as good as Chris thinks because Chris wants to bat him leadoff. Chris and I have a bet offline. He has Justin Crawford hitting 300 for the year. I told him not at all, no shot. And so I have lunch coming to me at the end of the year because I'm that confident that I'm going to win this bet with Chris. But I've been impressed by Justin Crawford. And I've also been impressed by the way Zach Wheeler has come back from a very risky injury that could have derailed his career to come back as early as he did. I didn't think he'd be back even before now. Initially, when we first heard thoracic outlet syndrome, I thought Memorial Day at the earliest, and now he's made 6 starts already, and he's got a 1.99 ERA, and the Phillies have won every start that he's thrown, and he looks every bit of a Cy Young contender as Christopher Sanchez, as Paul Skeens, as Shohei Ohtani. Like, he's right in that mix with those folks. Those are my surprises so far for this year. Bob, I don't know if you have any that are separate from that.
Not really separate from you at all. Bryce Harper might be a surprise for me, like how well he's playing now compared to where many of them thought. But I wanted to go back to something you said because I want to make you feel better about yourself, Ann. That's what I'm here for. I want to make you feel better about yourself. You talked about like you're all over the place and you don't even know anymore and this and that. I don't think it defined you. I think it defined the Phillies. I think what you said was a perfect definition of what the Phillies are. Nobody expected them to go to the World Series in, what was that, 22, 23?
Right, 22.
22. Nobody expected that. Then it's all on board. Then it's almost get to the World Series, but let down. So then, okay, they're right there. They know what it takes. And then 2 bad playoff series. So it's this wave that I don't think is I don't think it's just you. I really think what you described is perfectly describing how many can't figure this Phillies team out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Bob, and it's funny because obviously if you look at the graph at the chart, right? The regular seasons starting in 22 were like 88, 87, 88, 90, 92, 95, 96 wins.
Right.
And then it's World Series, League Championship Series, first round exits. So like those 2 different lines have just gone like this. So they're somewhere in the middle of that. And it's just trying to figure out what that middle is. And is that okay? Right? Like, is it okay? Is it okay to have a team that is going to be in the playoffs every year and have a chance to go to the World Series every year, but just ends up disappointing you? Or would you rather have a team that is maybe going to be dominant for like 1 or 2 years and then they're going to stink, but your chances increase in those 1 or 2 years over versus saying having 6 or 7 cracks at it.
Yeah, see, we all have to be like Francesca and not be emotionally involved.
Yeah, this is probably why I'm single, because I remain neutral and I refuse to get excited.
That sounds like a different podcast to me.
Don't get any. I don't want to implement any ideas. This is it.
We may have to go down that path at some point, Francesca. And people just don't impress you, right? Is that what it is?
This is so true. Nobody impresses me. No, and I want to be impressed. I was genuinely impressed last night. I watching and just kind of like keeping track of where we were at the start of the season. That's kind of like, that's the steady track of a good potential boyfriend. But
So there's a potential, you mean, then for them to steal your heart this summer at some point.
Oh my God. But then there's also the potential, once stolen, it could get broken. So now you know my dilemma. And I'm pretty sure a lot of Phillies fans are feeling the same thing. So
yeah,
we're taking it day by day.
You're a little simpatico with them. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's great.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of a pun in my head and I can't get one. So I don't know where to go here, but all right, we'll finish up with the Phillies, Anthony and Francesco, on this.
Yes.
What do they need? And what realistically, and Ant, you know the league better than Francesca and I, but what can they realistically maybe get? And I know that as soon as that comes up, everybody screams, Mike Trout, Mike Trout, Mike Trout.
Yeah, I know. Everybody wants. I mean, look, would that be an awesome thing for Mike Trout to come home to Philadelphia? It absolutely would be awesome. I don't think it's realistic.
Why not?
For a lot of reasons. I think Mike Trout. So Mike Trout's favorite player growing up was Derek Jeter, and the thing that he loved about Derek Jeter was the fact that Derek Jeter played his entire career for one team.
Yeah,
now,
granted, series.
Yeah, granted, Derek Jeter won a lot with the Yankees, and Mike Trout hasn't won a damn thing with the Los Angeles Angels. But I mean, he's very involved in his community out there. His wife loves it out there, even though they're both from South Jersey, right? They do enjoy it out there, and I think that his contract is so massive, the Angels would probably have to eat some of that money, and I don't know how much Artie Moreno, the owner of the Angels, wants to eat millions upon millions of dollars to trade away the greatest player to ever play for him. Apologies
His
to
golf course just opened, Anthony. His golf course just opened.
Yeah, I know.
See the day-to-day runnings of it.
Yeah,
I've been hearing great things about it too. I've been dying to get out there.
Isn't he involved? Is he involved with Cobb's as well?
Cobb's Creek?
The renovations at Cobb's Creek?
No, I think you're thinking of Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods.
Oh, Tiger Woods. I knew somebody was involved with that. Okay. So that's Tiger. Okay. Tiger Woods is involved with that. Okay.
Tiger guy.
But yeah, no, it would be a great story. And it's a piece that the Phillies could use. I'm here to tell you that it's unlikely to happen. Where could the Phillies go? They definitely need help from the right side. They need a right-handed hitter because their right-handed hitters cannot hit. I mean, I know Alec Boehm's kind of slowly turned it around here a little bit. I mean, he's hitting over 300 his last 12 games or whatever it is. Okay, fine. But it's still not good enough. I mentioned Turner already. I think JT Realmuto is on the wrong side of 35 now. And I think that it's only going to decline even more. Adolis Garcia he's been just another 1 year, $10 million disappointment. Pretty good defensive player. Like he catches the ball and he's got a great arm. So it's an upgrade over Castellanos in that effect. But at the plate, it's no different. It's actually maybe even a little bit worse than what Nick Castellanos was giving you. So there's not a lot from the right side. I think that's what they need. They're going to need a right-handed bat in some capacity, whether it's an outfielder or an infielder. I don't care. I will tell you that the name that I am most interested in is a player who I'm not even sure is going to get traded, but the Phillies were linked to him in the offseason as a potential trade candidate, and didn't end up. He never got traded, but it's Ketel Marte from the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I look at the Diamondbacks and I say they're a decent team, right? They got a good lineup. They don't have great pitching, so I don't think ultimately they're going to win. They have two really good teams in front of them in their division, in the Dodgers and the Padres. I think if you're being really honest with yourself and being doing some really good self-analysis, the Arizona Diamondbacks have to look at it and go, there's no way we're catching these two teams this year, right? So the question is, do we really, really want to be a hang around 500 and hope we can fight our way in and get one of those last wild card spots and cross our fingers that we can make another run like we did in 23? Or do you look at it and go, we still need to figure out a way to upgrade our pitching, and maybe if we take away from our lineup, which is a very good lineup, by the way, take a little bit of something away from the lineup and bolster our pitching staff, we could be a team that could be that team next year that competes with the Dodgers. If they do, and Ketel Marte becomes a guy that's available, and he's not gotten off to a great start either, so that's another thing too. That would be the name that would intrigue me to bring him here. He could play multiple positions. He's best at second base, and I know, oh my God, Bryson Stott's there. Maybe you move Bryson Stott. Maybe you put him at third base and move Alec Bohm. Whatever. Ketel Marte can also play short. He's also played in the outfield before. That's the name that intrigues me the most. If he were available, then I would say, oh, go get that guy. Otherwise, I think you're probably shopping in a different aisle in July. And it's probably not going to be an aisle that excites a lot of fans. It's going to be the bargain bin, the for sale rack is what it's going to be.
I've always liked Marte. I would love to see him here if it didn't cost you too much.
It would probably cost you, if I had to get, just
a Bohm and a prospect, a pitching prospect.
I think Stott might have to be the guy that goes, because it's the position. They play the same position. Right. So maybe, yeah, sure. But the reason Stott is because there's a little bit more control with Stott. Bohm's a free agent at the end of the year. Right. So maybe you're looking at, is it Bryson Stott and Gage Wood and a third lower level prospect? Does that get the deal done with Arizona?
Gage Wood just moved up to what, AA?
I look, there's a lot about Gage Wood that I like. But if I'm watching him, when I watch him pitch, I see a closer, Bob. I don't see a
short to be a.
I don't see a kid that's going to stay in your rotation, right? And if that's what he's ultimately going to be, if he's ultimately going to be a back of the bullpen guy, and that's not to say he can't be a good back of the bullpen guy. He can be a very good back of the bullpen guy. But if that's what he is, you have to value that a little bit less internally and sit there and go, that's a piece that we could move to get what we need to win. So, and I also see that I think that they jumped into AA instead of going to Jersey Shore. He went right from Clearwater to Reading. So he skipped a whole level. I almost think they want to see him pitch at that level to make other teams see him pitch at that level and go, oh, he's pretty close to being major league ready. That's my read on it. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my read on it.
Okay. All right. Listen, have you found yourself on the injured list? Well, you can get help now. Call Wapner Newman, PA in New Jersey's premier medical malpractice and injury attorneys at 215-569-0900 or visit wapnernewman.com. And we thank them for being friends with us. All right. So, Francesca, I'm going to leave this up to you now. Where do you want to go? Do you want to go Aronimink or do you want to talk Flyers?
Oh, let's talk Aronimink because it just happened over the weekend. Let's just start there.
Okay, there it is. I thought it played out really cool, where the course won. I mean, the course won, and it was. I know. It was. I don't know what you thought, Francesca. I thought it was cool when the players came in and automatically we're talking about the course and the toughness of it all the time. That just made me like a proud papa. Welcome to Philadelphia. You can't golf our golf course the way you usually do.
No, and I think Aronimink is the clear winner from the week besides Aaron Rai, obviously, which we'll get to that in a moment. Normally, when you watch these majors, and obviously they take over, like they expand throughout the course of like 3 to 4 days. By Sunday, if you look at those leaderboards, they're in the double digits, like -12, -10, -13. Everybody stayed below -10, which tells you that the course was objectively the clear winner. And I believe that reputation that Aronimink will continue to, I guess, like translate throughout the rest of the golf season with the PGA of America. I believe we're going to be seeing more tournaments and a lot more golf in the Philadelphia area in the next coming years. I believe that 100%. Oh yeah.
Chris asked if it will be 60 years before the PGA returns.
Yeah. Well, the last time
how long do they put those things out, Francesca? Do you know?
Say that one more time.
How long do they put that out? Like Aronimink was named, I think in 15-ish, that they were going to host in 26. So it's a long time before it happens that you can get named to host, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, and also too, the last time, and I mentioned this in another podcast, the last time we saw the PGA Championship, like we saw a major at Aronimink, was over at 1962 at the US Open. And I was there as a sign bearer in 2012, totally dating myself, during the AT&T National. And then I
14 years ago was dating yourself, huh? Wow.
I'm totally dating myself. And then I did hear so many great things about the BMW Championship that also took place a couple of years ago. So Aronimink and Philly golf, they have that reputation. And here's something, if people are like, are we just discovering how great golf is? The majority of the pro athletes that we were just talking about, you pull up to their house, you go in their garage, they're going to be having a set of golf clubs. Everybody is playing golf right now. 5 years ago, COVID we saw the boom of the sport, and now we're seeing it just really have a great effect in the Philly area. And I have to say, the fans were on their best behavior. We can't ask Rory that, because I did see a video going viral of him getting into it with the fan. This was on the 17th green.
17th
Rory,
on Sunday, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But that's just kind of like what makes Rory really fun to watch. He's very hot-headed, very unpredictable. Again, I kind of have to compliment that spiteful Irish spirit. He will stick it to you. And he's also a phenomenal player. And when he plays bad golf, it's still just as entertaining. And very few golfers like Bryson DeChambeau, I would have to put him in that category too. Very entertaining to watch him splice it all the way over to the right, which I think he did. That course definitely challenged a lot of people's games.
I want to ask Francesca a fun question about Rory. If Rory were a Philadelphian, where would he be a member? What course would he be a member at? Because of his personality.
Oh, okay. This is a really good question. Because he's really all about his privacy. He's really all about just maintaining his game. I would probably say he'd be a member at Marion, but I think he would have 2 memberships. He would probably be a member at Marion. I see him being a member at Philly Cricket. I do believe Philly Cricket likes to believe that they're Augusta sometimes. They like to play that up a little bit. I was actually there a couple of days ago with Cooper DeJean, and that course is very challenging, but they're very, it's old school Philly golf. It's old school. It's very, very old money. And I think, people are 50-50 with that kind of cultural aspect that comes along with country club mentality. But I got to say, I do appreciate those traditions, those rules. There has to be a certain standard, right? And golf likes to maintain that standard, whether people like it or not. The same way you look at Squires. Squires is men only. And I know there's a few courses down in Jupiter, Florida that are also men only. People have asked me for my opinion on that. Oh, I also think maybe Rory could be a member over at Squires. I also see that as well. But also, I don't mind that, if that makes sense. I really don't mind that. The boys can go have their own club. But there's something for everybody in Philly golf. And also at the very baseline, Rory would definitely enjoy the public golf scene. You've got some incredible courses. Five Ponds is always up there. I know Jeffersonville is up there, Wyncote, Turtle Creek. We have a great foundation for basic public golf. I do believe more rules need to be implemented to keep the flow going so that the pace of play doesn't exceed 4.5 hours max. But it's just good to see that everyone's just rediscovering how great Philly golf is.
It's funny what Rory got mad at the other day also. We're thinking Philly fans was somebody cursing or saying. All somebody said was USA. And that's what Rory turned around and got mad at. I believe he was like chipping out, or I think he might have been in the rough on 17, whatever it was. And he turned to the guy and pointed his club at him. But look, I was around. I walked that course like unbelievably for 4 days, and to see the fans and the way they reacted and the way they were, it was funny. You know,
it was so
Scottie
fun.
Scheffler, you know, #1 player in the world, doesn't show a lot of emotion. I always not struggle with this, but I think
he doesn't. No.
Yeah, he came out of a tournament a couple years ago and said, you know, winning's not the end all be all. Like, it's just like, I still have a family. And it kind of turned a lot of people off. So in my mind, I was like, is this guy having fun playing golf?
Yes.
When he got the Eagles chance all week, it cracked him up on the course because he's a Dallas fan, and he was laughing at the Eagles chance pretty much all week. And he just took it in stride. And I thought Philly fans were phenomenal this weekend.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. And I thought that they did the same thing to DeChambeau too, right? Because he's and he had some fun with it as well. The one thing I wanted to ask about Rory versus, and I think it was Justin Thomas. I want to make sure I'm right on this, but they had two completely different opinions about Aronimink.
Mm-hmm.
And so like this is what I want. This was my question, because you guys are golfers, I'm not, but I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on this. So Rory's complaint was that the way that Aronimink was set up, that it didn't allow for anybody to really pull away or there to be any separation. That it was a situation where you weren't going to shoot really low, but you also weren't going to shoot really high. You were just going to be playing around par golf. That was kind of, I'm paraphrasing what he said.
No, you're right on it.
Yeah, but that's kind of what he said, right? But then there's Justin Thomas, who comes out and says, this track really challenged us. And it was good, because this is what a major championship should be. It should be like this. It should be, you shouldn't be able to just walk onto the course and put up a super high low number, like -15, -20, whatever. You should be able to, it should challenge you. All right. And I'm of that mindset. Like, as just somebody who's more of a casual golf fan who likes to watch golf on I'm one of those rare people who likes to watch golf on television. But I enjoy when it's harder for the pros. Like when you see the best people in the world struggling with a course. To me,
one of us.
Exactly, right? That's the way I look at it.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to kind of get your guys' take on it. Why would there be such a disparaging or just a big gap in what Rory said versus what Justin Thomas said?
Go ahead, Francesca.
Well, what specific? Okay, I would have to say, so I did get the chance to very, very privileged to have played the course last season. I got invited to go play. There's no carts, it's walking only. The course favors fades. So if you have a fade where you strike the ball and it starts to fade right, a lot of the fairways and hole layouts, they lean dog leg right. And on top of that too, pin placements. A lot of these pin placements were in between these crazy valleys and crevices that really challenged the short game of the pros. Short game is where everybody's game basically comes together. From 100 yards in, how did everybody basically play? I'll tell you this, I did follow Rory for a little bit. He really struggled with his short game. Bryson DeChambeau, he blew a few holes. And we've seen a lot of balls, they would land right in the middle of the green or right up front, which I believe a lot of the pros realized that was the strategy to keep their ball on the green. They still rolled off. So where 75 yards in, that's where the game humbles you, and that's where everybody got even. And Rory also too, as a long player, he does have a natural draw. So when he strikes the ball basically kind of like draws to the left. And if you're having a golf course where the layouts, or the majority of them, are dog leg right, you're also going to struggle a little bit. And on top of that, the rough sucks. You get into that rough, which I've seen John Rahm, he pelted this drive on the 16th hole just to the left. Again, the rough is really high on the left side. It was a par 4, obviously, to get on regulation. You want to get on 2. There's bunkers too. Don't forget. Side note, you guys, the bunkers, they hug the green. You've got bunkers in the front and bunkers in the back. Awful. And with you have speedy greens, it's terrible. He couldn't get it out of the rough. And he's a strong guy too. He struggled getting out of the rough, and his ball landed on the front side green. So I believe a lot of the golfers, they did struggle with their approach shots, the rough, 100 yards in. And I think these elements kind of just accumulated, and it's why everybody struggled. And even longer players too. Now, Aaron Rai, though, on the other hand, I think he got the memo that steady golf, pace of play, like just maintaining a good pace, was the way to go. He was the dark horse, and he knew he met the course in the middle, was like, okay, course, I know your game, I know how you're playing. We're just gonna really take it one shot at a time. So, and I believe that steady play, not getting too overly excited, not, getting defeated by it. He didn't let the course defeat him. He rode the course the way it's supposed to be ridden. And I think that's why he won.
Yeah, that's a great point on Rye. I totally agree with you there. Slow and steady won the course this weekend, and he did it better than everybody else. I thought Rory had a bad weekend, and take it away from the golf. His first comments before hitting the course was, Philadelphia's a great golf town. This is great. And look, we all love to hear that, but come on, Rory, really? How often are you guys in Philadelphia to golf? I mean, Marion 2013, I was there for 7 days. It was awesome. And talk about a course winning, the golf course when your winning score is 1 over par. Like, that was phenomenal. So I thought there was a little fakeness from Rory coming in and going, yeah, Philly golf.
Again.
There is no Philly golf. Stop. You guys aren't here very often. Let's not act like you are. And then going on about the course and not liking the pin placements, and the setup is a word that he used. They're words that he used all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It wasn't conducive to your type of play. You got to accept it and go. I thought Justin Thomas handled the week perfectly, where he came in, and also someone from Dallas, if I'm not mistaken, or a Cowboys, whatever. He came in and was like, wow, look at this. This is pretty cool. This is different. This is, I am not the A-lister like a Rory McIlroy, but I certainly have game that can get up to that. And he met the challenges of the course. And I thought, I followed Jordan Spieth for 13 holes on Sunday, but then I also doubled back. I think he was two foursomes he was 2 pairings, if I'm not mistaken, behind Spieth on Sunday. I caught up to him and watched him, and it really did hit me like, wow, he's really thinking this course out. So I think he almost won it. I mean, he had to sit around for about 4 or 5 hours to see if he was going to win the event. But I think that was like the contrast of the weekend, where Rory didn't have a good one with his thought process, and I thought Justin Thomas had a great one with his, and as did Aaron Rai, obviously.
Yeah. And as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, when you guys asked me, what do you need to do to change a certain aspect of your game and to achieve that next level, and also to plateau at that next level, you just basically confirmed golf is it's like 90% mental at this point. You can only rehearse the mechanics for so long, then it just gets up in here. And golf is different. There's every single element affects your game, from the weather, from the course, the layout, the grass, everything. Even sometimes too, the energy of the spectators. Yeah. I thought we were great. And you know what? Earlier to your point, Scotty Scheffler, he's very deadpan with his emotions, and I think the gallery knew that, and that's why we were taunting him with some really funny, obviously Dallas heckles. I heard somebody heckle, "We're gonna kick your ass during Thanksgiving." He cracked up, and this is right before he teed off too. So it's a great. There's just going to be so much coming up for Philly golf, and I'm so excited. I'm just looking at the comments. I think Ford is highlighting, yes, we know it's an affluent burb, but to an outsider, it's still all categorically Philly golf. And I'll loop Philly golf, and I'll loop Pine Valley into Philly golf, and that's over in Jersey. I'll loop South Jersey courses into Philly golf. It's the great state of Philadelphia. It's Philly golf.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's in Malvern. It's Philly.
Yeah. I have two more quick things I want to touch on from Aronimink. Yes. First of all, can we talk about Aaron Rai's 68-foot putt?
Yes, I was there. I saw it.
Yeah.
because
Solid.
that was something else, right, guys?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I've seen long putts before. I've seen crazy putts that take, guys are facing away from the hole because the way the green is, and it takes like a crazy path and goes in. Like it's whatever. But I mean, here's a guy that's never won a major tournament. Like that was the tournament right there, because right. I mean that pretty much seals it. No matter what happens on 18 and what everybody else coming behind, whatever. That's that wins it. That wins the tournament right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
Yeah.
And it was the signature moment in a tournament that I thought needed a signature moment, because often this weekend, like it just felt like, all right, here we come. No, we're not. I felt like Aronimink was kind of like, oh, you think you're playing well now? Hold on there, little man. Like you're not. And whenever you thought somebody was taking off, it just wasn't happening. It was kind of, all right, who's going to grab this tournament? Who's going to grab this tournament? Right. And then I think that putt was like, I am. Yeah. I'm grabbing it, and I just did. So I thought it was cool.
And if you pay attention to how he reacted, I think he also surprised himself that he did indeed make that putt. And if you really study it, and I watched that putt so many times. Had it not go in, that probably would have gone off the green. It was going very fast, but there was no other way. Talk about faith and just trusting your training and trusting your line of choice. There was no other way to not make that putt. He had to go that pace, which in all totality, overall just basically confirms how legitimately tough these greens were. He had to go that pace. He would have blown right by that hole if it did not go in. And I think
imagine what that does. Like if he misses that putt, it could be a bogey on that hole. And instead of being 9 under, now instead he's 7 under, and the people behind you are only 1 shot off.
Yeah,
now changes everything, right?
It
right,
does.
Exactly.
It
changes everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The other thing, the last thing I wanted to bring up, because I just thought it was I had never seen anything like this before. But Garrick Higgo, did you guys, Bob? That was the day you weren't there. I think that was Thursday, right?
Right. Yeah.
When he was seconds late for his tee time and gets hit with a 2-shot penalty.
Yeah.
And then from it looks like he fired his caddy.
Did he really? I didn't see that. He fired his
caddy after the tournament.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, I just had a thing. I sometimes I think that the rules are too ridiculous. Sometimes that's a little bit much. I don't think it affected the start time. I mean, he was there within the minute. It was just seconds late, and he gets hit with a 2-stroke penalty. That had to cost him I don't know how many thousands of dollars, right?
Well, he wound up missing did he miss the cut or did he make the cut?
No, he made the cut, right?
Well, he did.
I think he missed. I think he did make the cut.
Yeah, I know. I saw him one day. It must have been Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think, you know what, I think that just goes to show you. I think that just goes to show you how golf is like, no matter who tries to come in, I still call the shots. I hold the rules. The entity of golf it's the standard, and people every day try to, I don't know what happened. My mom and we were trying to figure out, like, what was he doing? Like, was he like using the restroom? Was he like, what was he doing that made him late? That's up for discussion. And
he was apparently he was on the putting green.
Okay.
Over by the tee box.
Yeah, which is right there. Like I did see him the next day because I had 2 kids standing next to me that were trying to get autographs. And early on, I said to them, hey guys, when you're screaming for an autograph or something, use the word please and thank you. Like people,
they love that.
Appreciate that. Like instead of just saying, Rory, sign this. Hey, Rory, could you please sign it? Whatever. So I had a little conversation going on with them. And then when he walked up to go to the putting green, literally I was standing along the fence where the players would walk, within inches to go to the I looked at the kids and I said, do not say anything about him getting penalized yesterday.
Yeah.
And the one kid, they're like 12 years old. He was like, no, I wasn't going to say that. I know they were going to say something.
Here's why I have an issue. And I understand what you're saying about the game controls everything with the rules. I get it. But then you have a situation, I forget, it was like the day one, and I forget who it was, what golfer it was. It
Mhm.
might have been DeChambeau, whatever. Hits their drive into the rough on their first hole, and I think it was on 10 because I think he was starting on 10 because in the first 2 rounds you split, some start out, some start in, whatever, and hits it into the rough, but it was close to the sprinkler box or the sprinkler head or whatever. They let him put it a club length out onto the fairway. Now, I understand you can't hit with the sprinkler head. I get it. But shouldn't your club head, you hit it into the rough, shouldn't your club head put it somewhere else in the rough? Why do you get the relief onto the fairway for a much cleaner shot? Like, to me, that's an advantage. You had a bad first shot or not a great first shot, and you got an advantage. But if you show up 20 seconds late for your tee time, you're losing 2 shots. Like, you see, like, I don't see that there's a dichotomy here that doesn't make sense.
Oh, I see. I understand. Well, I'll have to go back and like look at it. But normally, if you're taking relief from something man-made, it's you take a club back, but it has to be in line
No closer
with
to the hole.
no closer to the hole. You
It
can't
was on
fully
it was
improve the
not
lie.
closer. It was not closer. It was
But it's
it was,
gotta be-
it was perpendicular out from where the ball was.
It
was-
shouldn't
but
have
it was-
been perpendicular. It should have been within the line of the shot, but it wasn't.
No, it was
Okay.
out. It was out onto the fairway. It was like it was day one. It was. I'm pretty sure it was. I think it was DeChambeau off of his tee drive on his first hole.
They
Yeah,
didn't care because they knew he was going
Nah.
to blow up anyway.
They knew he was gonna blow. He's
Go
got
ahead.
it.
Tyson,
He's
put it
got a
wherever
new
you want.
nickname. He's got a new nickname now, DeChambles. People were like going to
Yeah.
town. Go back to YouTube golf, Bryson.
DeChambeau.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel bad. It was tough. You go in with certain expectations, coming out and realizing that maybe I should stick to YouTube golf. Who knows? But again, there's still a level of pageantry that these players are very fun and entertaining to watch, irregardless of whether they're good or not. They hit good shots, they hit bad shots. Bad shots in golf are just as entertaining, more so coming from the pros than
Yeah.
I'll say. Yeah. But that course is tough. It's tough.
Yeah. I've been lucky enough
yeah.
to play it about 20 times because, like, as I said, I have a friend that's on the board there and was president there for a couple of years. So he would have it fun.
Hello?
Yeah, no, it's just lucky. He went to LaSalle University. I used to cover LaSalle basketball. He and I became friendly. And every year, twice a year for about 8-10 years, he would take us out, twice a year to play. And it was phenomenal. Although, nothing against Aronimink here. They did lose my golf clubs one time.
How did you lose your golf clubs at Aronimink?
So
What'd you do?
we went when you go, they switched my clubs out of my bag to put it into a lighter bag for the caddies. Okay, they then thought that bag was like a member, whatever it was. They and it had my cell phone in it,
Right.
which was so long. Well, but this was long enough ago that it wasn't that big of a deal not to have a cell phone for a few days. You know what I mean? After about 4 or 5 days.
No.
But they promised me a free round of golf, and it was funny. My buddy who's a member was like, "You always get a free round of golf." So
Yeah.
But no, it's just an honest mistake. No big deal. Our guy Higo did not make the cut. Garrick Higo, right?
Yeah, he did
He
not.
shot a 7. No, he shot a 1 under par the first day, which you're right, and it would have been a 3 under had he not. But then he blew up to a 76 the next day. Wound up 1 stroke over the cut line.
So the penalty costs him for making the weekend.
It cost him probably minimum, $80,000. Yeah, minimum.
Locate, not a big deal. $80,000.
Now you know why he fired the caddy.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
just looking up what the guy who came in last at Aronimink this weekend for the PGA Championship made $24,000. A lot of guys came in last, but yeah, you wonder why they look over putts and all so much. Xander Schauffele finished at 4 under, made $637,000. Had he missed 1 more putt that week, he would have lost $140,000.
How much did Smalley get? How many people tied for third? Now, towards the end, after Rye finished, we were watching John Rahm so he could secure second place.
Right.
Smalley just behind him was tied. Then I believe he bogeyed 17, which knocked him down to third so that John Rahm could take second.
Yeah, but he birdied 18. Smalley did. He
Oh, I
birdied
didn't know
18.
he
Yeah,
birdied 18.
yeah. So Rye won
I
$3.7 million to
Okay.
win it. The two guys that tied for second, Smalley and Rahm,
And Rob,
they
okay,
each
so he
won
birdied.
1.8 million.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if
Wow.
Smalley, here you go. If Smalley doesn't win, it doesn't make birdie on 18, he goes from winning 1.8 million down to winning 844,000. So he loses almost $1 million over one putt.
So that was $1 million putt. He had to
$1
make a
million
putt for $1
putt.
million. Oh
I'd
my
love to have $1 million
gracious.
putt sometime, whether I make it or not. Just
Yeah.
to say, yeah, I had $1 million putt.
Yeah. Oh,
All right,
wow.
we gotta move on a little bit here. Anthony, before we go, I do want to get into some Flyers, and Francesca, as you said, big Flyers fan. Anthony and I were lucky enough. He was on the road with them also, and has been with them for years and does unbelievable work following them. It was cool to get in on some playoff games with you, Ant, and do coverage that we did together. But where are they now? Well, a couple of things. The injury list comes out after the playoffs for the Flyers. Yeah. Are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me that they had guys playing with like broken legs and shattered ribs? And if I'm not mistaken, a guy got a spleen taken out between periods and then went back in. Like, what the? I'm kidding on that one.
Yeah.
What, are you kidding me with these injuries that they had?
Yeah, it's a hockey player mentality, right? I mean, you know, there is just a culture in that sport that there is nothing greater than the team. So it's like the crest on the sweater is far more important than the name on the back. And that matters. It's instilled in you from a very young age that you do whatever you possibly can to play to help the team win.
Anthony, do me a favor. Just name some of the injuries and who had them for Francesca, for the people that are watching. Because Francesca, this is amazing.
Well, the ones that knocked guys out. I mean, Owen Tippett, first he had a sports hernia that he was playing through, and then he had an internal bleeding and had to stop. He also had a shoulder injury that he was playing through.
Internal bleeding, Francesca, but he was out on the ice before games trying to get himself
trying to get back. He was trying to get internal bleeding. He was just not allowed to get hit.
How did he not die?
I know, right?
Playing through
Noah Cates finished a game with a broken foot. He broke his foot in the first period and played the rest of the game, and including the overtime, with a broken foot. Cam York had fractured ribs. Travis Konechny had some injuries.
Fibula, or
Garnet Hathaway had a fractured fibula and was playing through that.
Oh my God.
Christian Dvorak had a separated shoulder and was playing through that, and he was hitting people, which was amazing. That's the hockey player, man. As the police fly by my house.
Again,
but was the hockey. That's the hockey player, right?
So were they playing on their injuries because like they ran out of healthy bodies? Like,
no,
or is that just mentality?
There's other bodies that could have gone in, but they said there's a belief that I can get out there on the ice at 75-80% and still give you enough to try and help the team win. It's a hockey mentality.
I know it is, and we've seen it forever. I remember when I was a kid, Rick McLeish taking a skate across the neck. The joke was he went to smoke a cigarette in between periods while he was getting stitched up, and the smoke started coming out of his neck.
Yeah.
But was back. You know, they come back. The spleen, though, there was a ruptured spleen, number 25. Otto? Oh, shoot. Who was it? Do you remember that?
Joel Otto? He was 29, Joel Otto.
There was somebody that had a ruptured.
Sean Podine was 25.
Was it Owen Tippett? Was it?
No,
Owen Tippett?
not
recently. It was I forget who it was, but it's just crazy. But
all
right, so the big thing I think, Anthony, came out of the playoffs was the play of Dan Vladar, and phenomenal. And he was battling injury also with the arm, wrist, whatever it was that happened in game 2, 3.
It was against the Penguins. No, it was against game 3 against the Penguins. It was in Philly, right?
Right.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was game 3 against the Penguins. Yeah.
So where do they go with him? He has, if I'm not mistaken, give me contract. 1 more year on a contract.
So he's got 1 more year on the contract at $3.2 million, I believe it is, the AAV. they're not technically not allowed to sign him to an extension until July 1st because he was a free agent last year. So the rules are you're allowed to sign him to a contract. You cannot sign an extension on that contract for a full year after you initially sign him. So they cannot sign him officially till July 1. That said, not only do I think they will, I think it's done.
Really?
I think it's done and just waiting for July 1st to come around. Now, what will that look like? I think he's going to get a 5-year deal, Bob. Ooh. I think they're going to give him 5 years. And not only do I think they're going to give him 5 years, I think they're going to almost double his salary. I would be stunned if it's I think it's going to be around $6 million. Let's just put it that way. It could it possibly be like 5.75? Sure. But I think it's going to be around $6 million a year for 5 years. And they look at it and say, you're our number one goalie for the next couple of years, at least 2 to 3 years. And then if you start to tail off as you get into your 30s, we have a couple of young kids that we like, that we've drafted, that we think could be number ones eventually, and you could be their veteran backup.
He's 28 now, Ant?
Yeah, okay. He's 28. And I think the thing of it is with him, Bob, is it's not just the way he played, and he was great, right? He had a great playoff. He had a really good regular season. He was certainly their team MVP. But he became like a captain of the team too. He was one of the leaders. He doesn't goalies don't put the letter on their jersey, right? They just don't do that. But it was like he was one of the leaders of the team. And he's beloved in that locker room. Like, you ask anybody in that locker room, they love that guy. And I think that there's a lot of this contract that's tied to that as well. So I know I haven't written it yet, and it hasn't even been tweeted out yet. So those of you who are watching the On Pattison podcast, you may be getting the first little nugget of that contract. But I'm pretty confident you're going to look at about 5 years, close to $30 million for Dan Vladar that they will announce July 1.
All right. So you and I saw the ending of that series, 4-0 to the Hurricanes Commanders. Where'd I come up with that? But 4-0 and that overtime, which wasn't even 5 minutes long. It was like the Hurricanes came out and said, all right, let's go. Let's end this, because they just dominated overtime. You look at the injuries. I'm putting this all together. You look at the injuries that we just talked about, a 4-0 series. Are the Flyers that far away from a team like the Carolina Hurricanes that 4-0 was foreseeable? Or all the games were pretty close except for game one. Flyers had a ton of injuries. Are they closer to being towards that upper echelon level than maybe a lot of people think after a 4-0 loss?
They're not super far away, but they're also not right on the doorstep either, right? There's a lot more. I think what fans can probably take out of what the Flyers, they just witnessed with the Flyers, is that there's a lot of talent on this team, maybe more than fans gave it credit for. The casual fan, the hardcore fan knew that these players existed, but the casual hockey fan probably didn't realize that some of these players were as good as they are. And they're young, right, Bob? I mean, and you know, they're kids, and there's a lot of under 25s on this team. And so they're going to kind of grow together and get better together. Like, this was just the first step. And I can't disagree with Chris Moore here, right? They were the 8th seed. They beat the 7th seed Penguins in the first round. They're not in the same planetary system as the Hurricanes of the NHL. I couldn't disagree more, because there are so many good young players on this team that are only going to get better, right? Those Hurricanes players who Chris puts at the top of the echelon here, and I don't even think they are the top echelon. I think Colorado is. Carolina's on the next tier down. But those players were the Flyers 5 years ago. Like, that's where the Carolina Hurricanes were 5 years ago with these guys, right? And now you're seeing the fruits of it. And they don't have a dominant number one center, number one defenseman that everybody keeps talking about that you have to have. Sure, it would be great to have that kind of player, right? It'd be great to go out and get that player. They have what the Flyers have now 5 years ago. A lot of people thought the players on the Carolina Hurricanes were third line players when they were 21, 22, 23 years old. And it turns out that they're a lot better than that, right? I don't think I don't think Jacob Slavin gets enough credit for the type of defenseman that he is in Carolina. I think he's a stud defenseman, okay? But when he first came into the league, it was like, oh, that's a good second pair guy. Oh, he's going to be good in a second pair. He's phenomenal, like a phenomenal defenseman. It's that kind of player. Logan Stankoven, right, is 5'7", and it was a guy that was he's just going to be a guy. He's turned into their leading scorer in the postseason as the second line center. He was supposed to be a depth guy, right? So, but over time, these is what these players become. So you can sit there and say, oh, it's a bunch of lower level, lower tier players. You're not giving them credit for the fact that they're going to grow into a role. Right. So I really like Denver Barkey. I think Denver Barkey is going to be a really good player for a long time in this league. I like Alex Bump. I think he's going to be a really good player a long time. Porter Martone, we know, is going to be a star in this league. Like everybody knows, you could see it. He just scored a goal yesterday for Team Canada in the World Championships, playing on a line with Sidney Crosby and Macklin Celebrini. Okay, so Porter Martone is that guy. Okay, he is. He's 19, and he's that guy. All right. So this is what you have. I believe in Tyson Forster. I think he's if he avoids the injuries, I think he's a really good forward. I'm one of the people who still thinks that there's something there with Michkov that's going to be found, and I think Michkov is going to have the kind of year next year that is like, all right, you guys pissed me off enough. I'm going to go prove it to everybody. So like you have that talent. Do you need more? Yes. I'm not trying to tell you don't, but you're not as far away as maybe people think you are.
I have a question for you, Anthony, because earlier you just mentioned the casual fan versus a hardcore fan. And, I think a lot of the fan base was pleasantly surprised about this year's playoffs. Do you think that there's going to be more casual fans becoming more hardcore fans? And we've got a lot to look forward to?
What I think it is, I don't necessarily know if casuals become hardcore. I'm sure there's always a few. Every time a team gets good, right? There's always some people that kind of make that transition, like, oh, I got into this, and now that I'm really excited about it, and I become hardcore. But what I do think is that the casual fan becomes more in tune with the fact that the Flyers exist. I think the casual fan got away from hockey, right, for the longest time. And I think now the casual fan goes, oh, the Flyers are on. Let me go check them out tonight. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the difference. Like, you didn't care that the Flyers were on before. Now it's like, oh, I'll tune in for a period. I'll watch a couple periods. Like I think my, and I hate to say it because my dad was a hardcore fan growing up. Like my love for sports came from my father. But for the last 7-8 years, my dad barely watched hockey. Like barely watched it. He got so much back into the fight. Now he did earlier in the year. He wasn't like just showing up at the playoffs, but I can remember it was probably around December or so that my dad started to watch the Flyers again. And, he started asking a lot of questions about who's this guy, who's that. And so like then he watched every game down the stretch, of course. And so he was into it. So like, I kind of get the sense that you'll get some of that. That's what will be going forward. There will be more interest in the team going forward. It's not just going to be the 16,000 hardcore Flyers fans in town.
17,077, right, Ant?
That's what the Spectrum attendance used to be. Yeah,
all the time. Francesca, that's all we would hear growing up. Tonight's attendance 17,077. Sell out for the Flyers. That's what it was.
Sell out at the Spectrum. Yep.
All right, boys and girls, we got to get rolling here. We want to thank everybody for joining us.
I do want to ask one thing about, because I just want to get Francesca's take on one thing. You put it in the text to me, Bob, and I thought this is perfect for Francesca. Okay, because you had mentioned, the Eagles schedule came out last week, and Tim and I on the podcast last week, we did a breakdown of what we think the Eagles are going to do and what whatever. But the Eagles this year are playing on both Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve. Are either of those a violation? Are either of those a violation from your perspective?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, because of the holidays,
Okay.
like playing games on the holidays.
No, for what you're getting paid, no. Mm-mm. Don't care.
But how
If
about
so- if-
How about for
What
the
about
fan?
for you as a fan, Francesca? Like, does it
Mhm.
bother you that on Christmas Eve at 4:30? Is that the time of the game on Christmas Eve?
No, it's 8:15.
8:15.
Mm,
Does that screw with your, I don't know, seven fishes or anything, or
oh yeah, well, we're gonna be cooking up a storm.
Right.
Yeah, we've got Christmas, we've got good food, and we've got the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that's fine. I think it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, they've got families. Yeah.
Can I tell you
You're
who
getting paid
who I
millions.
think the biggest loser is? I think
Who's the
think there's
biggest
two
loser?
biggest losers
Yes.
with this stuff. The biggest loser in my mind for as far as the Eagles schedule is concerned is Santa Claus. And here's why.
Oh, so
Every
he
kid,
exists?
every
Oh.
kid of a Philadelphia Eagles ticket holder for a
Mhm.
Christmas Eve game
Mhm.
is going to wake up to broken toys. And they're going to think Santa was drunk. Because mom and dad will have been tailgating on Christmas Eve
Mhm.
from noon until 8:00 start time, and then they're not getting home till after midnight because of the traffic getting out of there. And they go, "Oh no, we've now got to put up all the toys under the tree. Something's not going to be put together right. Something's going to be wrapped wrong. Something's going to be missed, right? And the kid's not going to get a gift, or it's going to be broken. Something's going to go wrong, and they're going to blame Santa. So Santa Claus."
I disagree. I totally disagree. We know how to compartmentalize our priorities. Right? Philly fans are very diverse in every aspect. They know their priorities. It's Philadelphia Eagles, then family. They get it. We got it. We're gonna have our priorities in line. We're gonna be
But
fine.
on a more serious note, I
Yes.
think that the Sunday football, the concept of Sunday football is being it's eroding, because there's games on every night of the week except Tuesday this year. They're taking away from Sunday. There was nothing better than just sitting down, you're watching the game, you're tracking, 12 games from around the league on Sunday. You're still going to have Sunday, but you're going to have less games on Sundays. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like losing games on Sundays just to throw in these special. They're playing on Wednesday night before Thanksgiving this year. Like, it's crazy to me.
The first words that you said, though, are why people are for what's going on. You said there's nothing better than, you said watching games on Sundays. There's so many out there, and I'm with you, but there's so many out there going, oh, there's nothing better than the Eagles being on Monday night or Thursday night, or this year they're on Saturday and Wednesday. Like, people just eat it up any day that they can. And the NFL is smart enough, as much as you and I don't like it, the NFL is smart enough to just, all right, you guys want it, we're going to give it to you, and boom, 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 here it is.
I do wonder, though, if at some point, so let's remember, Bob, I'm going to go back before Francesca's time. I know she said that she was dating herself earlier, but I'm going to go back before her time here. You remember when boxing was king, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but boxing is no longer king.
No.
It lost something right along the way. It hit a point where
I watched Rocky. I know boxing was king. This pro golfer behind me, she was married to George Zaharias. I'm game for boxing. It was the thing to watch.
Francesca can talk the Marvin Haglers and of the world. I mean, there's
right.
No problem there.
That's right. Sugar Ray Robinson, right? You know that.
Sugar Ray Robinson. Oh,
there you go.
But I've only heard of him, though.
Yeah, but I do worry that there is a possibility where a sport hits its saturation point, right? And it starts to lose something along the way. I don't anticipate that I don't think we could sit here and say the NFL will be the most popular sport in the world 100 years from now. Like, I don't think we could say that.
No.
Right? So if that's the case, is it possible that it takes away from itself, that it loses its foothold at some point? I'm not saying it's going to be tomorrow or 5 years from now,
sure.
Right? But it could be long after we're gone. It could be 40 years from now, 50 years from now.
I'm still going to be here 50 years from now.
Yeah. Is this the start of it, though? Is what I'm saying. Like, are you getting to the point where you are spreading your fans too thin to the point where it doesn't become, it's not as popular? Baseball used to be king in this country, and it's not anymore because it didn't adapt, right? It didn't change.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up, Ann. I think it's the adaptation of this generation. I think it's generational. I really do. And you and I, we want the Sunday games because that's what we grew up on. That's what we were used to. Okay, the Monday Night Football, that's great. It's a special event. Now it's grown into what it is. And I'm just saying this about me, and I'm using it as an example that I think our maybe our country is like. But I'm adaptable. Like, I have grown kids that this Sunday game, this Christmas Eve game, so many years ago when they were little, Bob Cooney's pissed to all hell that that's happening. But Bob Cooney sees a Christmas Eve game where we do our family thing early, and I can sit around and maybe have a couple cocktails with my kids and watch the game. You know what I mean? So, like, to me, I'm adaptable. Like, yeah, that's great. I don't care. Christmas Eve, who cares? My kids don't care. They'll go anytime they want. But you and I, to our heart and to our core, would be, can't we just get it back to Sunday and Monday Night Football? So I guess it's the NFL trying to read the adapting of society.
I don't know. I watched that Eagles video release where they had 5 guys sitting around a conference table. It was like Jalen Hurts and Saquon and Jordan Mailata. I forget who the other guys were on there. And they were opening up the envelopes with each game, right? There was the first time they were seeing who they were playing when, right? And that was the video that they put out. And when they got to the Christmas Eve, it was like, wait, we're playing Saturday and then we're going to play again on Thursday? What's that week going to look like? And they were all upset about, like, they were, you could see, like, in their reaction, like, well, that sucks for us. Like, what's that with that week? The league's not really thinking of their player. They're not thinking of the players at all when they're putting this together. Yeah. And I'm not convinced that they're really, really thinking of the fans. Mm-hmm. I really do. There are certain times of year that are meant for family. And it's one thing to sit there and go, okay, Thanksgiving, it's always been a tradition that it's been Detroit and Dallas. And then I guess, 15 years ago, they added the third game at a different city. But it's like, okay, once in the blue moon, you have to break your Thanksgiving and go to a football game at night. Okay, fine. Once every decade or so, whatever. The whole Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, like, I think you're going too far at that point. I just do. Mm-hmm. I think you've pushed the envelope. That's what I love about the NHL. The National Hockey League does not play they shut down for 4 days around Christmas and say, it's family time. Go spend time with your family.
And that's why I love the PGA, because they wouldn't do anything like that either. No. No.
Exactly.
Never. So. All right. Listen, Francesca, thanks so much for being with us. I think we're going to make this like a regular thing now. So that'll be cool. Looking forward to that. Anthony, keep being you. That's all I can ask of you. Also, in a city of champions, you deserve champion legal representation. Wapner Newman is Pennsylvania and New Jersey's premier medical malpractice and injury attorneys. Call 215-569-0900 or visit wapnernewman.com. Oh, look at this. Go ahead, read it, Ant.
Yep. Steve Savino says, great show, guys. Francesca, you're a keeper.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
We can get thrown back at any time, but you're a keeper.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We will be back at you. What, Anthony? Friday, right?
Friday, yeah. So this is going to, just so everybody knows, the plan is going forward, this is going to be Tuesdays and Fridays at 10 a.m. That is the plan now. So every Tuesday and Friday, 10 a.m. Set your time, but if you want to, you can find us wherever you get your podcast, whether it's on Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora. You can find us at any of those places. Best place to find us, though, is right here on YouTube, youtube.com/on-Pattison. So for Bob, for Francesca, I'm Anthony saying thank you very much, everyone, and we will see you on Friday.